Three, two, one. ML Nation, this is Simon Chen. I'm fired up to bring our special guest today, Giordano Carretta. Giordano, are you ready to make it happen?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Thank you for having me.
Giordano Carretta came to America in 2012 with no money, no degree, and didn't know anyone. He was broke and barely making ends meet by being a busboy and a soccer coach. Today, he's a multiple six-figure earner with a team of over 3,000 distributors. So, Giordano, I've given ML Nation a brief intro. Please take us to your background. What brought you to America, and how did you get started in network marketing?
Yes. So I came to United States, as you said, in 2012. I was born and raised in Italy, in Rome. And for me in Italy, I always wanted to be a soccer player. So like my whole life, I trained for soccer to become a professional. I was actually really good at it. And when I was 15, I actually signed up for a professional team. Then I got injured, and my dream was taken away. I couldn't play anymore. I still today suffer from that injury. I never could come back at that level that I wanted to. So then I went into a little bit of depression, because as a kid, like one out of like 10 million kid maybe makes it to the professional, and I was one of them. Then I got injured, and my dream was taken away. So I went to depression. I stopped going to school. Like I was really young. I did a lot of mistakes. Like I was like really depressed. Then eventually I started getting my life back together when I was like 21. Started going back to school again. I tried to finish at least high school like 3 years later than my friends, because I skipped 3 years. And then they told me, now the only thing you can do is go to college, get a degree, and get a job. And like only like the idea of that, it was terrifying me, because like, I mean, when I was a kid, when you're a kid, you have those big dreams. I want to be a soccer player, I want to be an actor or whatever. And then like when they take it away, like then you have to accept to be average. And I'm like, that's not me. I mean, I'm not, all the respect with people that do this life, but like that wasn't me, right? I was meant to do something bigger. So I didn't go to college. I refused to go to college. I went for like a month, and then I dropped out. And then I decided to move like away from everything, because in Italy everything was about soccer. So like I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I came to the US. And to be honest, I had no idea what I was gonna do, because me not having any skill besides soccer, no degree, I didn't know anybody, barely speaking English. I'm like, what am I gonna do? But like, I thought maybe if I go far away, I'm gonna find who I really am and what is my purpose. Besides, is there has to be another thing that I can do that makes me feel as good as becoming a professional soccer player. But when I came here, it was like way harder than I thought, because me not speaking the language, not having any experience in the US, not having a degree, like I had a really hard time getting a job. So I went to all the Italian places that I know, and I literally begged them for a job. I had to make a fake resume, to be honest with you. That I told them that I work in the best Italian restaurant all over Italy, and they even backed me up. Because I had some friends that they backed me up, but it didn't really work, because when they saw me carrying plates, they're like, "Dude, you never even put your feet. Come on, get out of here." Like we can tell you never been in a restaurant. So, but then I found an Italian guy who gave me this job, and I started cleaning floors, windows, like for the restaurant delivery, like helping I told him like anything you want me to do, as long as you pay me. I slept on my friend's couch for like a year. I finally got a car. Then I became eventually a busboy, and then a soccer coach. And for 3 years, I do both jobs, and hoping that something was going to change. But instead, I found myself in a worse position than I was before, because living in an Orange County, by yourself, like it's not easy and it's not cheap, right? So I had no money saved in my bank account, and my two salaries were very, very low. A busboy and a soccer coach. It's like I was barely making like 2 grand a month, living by myself with all my expenses. And I found myself in 3 years, I've accumulated over $30,000 in debt. And I couldn't see my family for like almost 3 years, because I couldn't afford a ticket to go back. And it was too expensive. Or even during Christmas, I couldn't go back because it was the best season at the restaurant. I had to be there or I would lose my job. So I was really having a hard time. I had no more time freedom. I was working two jobs, Monday to Sunday. And I'm like, what am I going to do? But I didn't want to go back, and I didn't want to tell my parents that I was struggling that much. And then in 2015, I think God helped me, like I always say this, God answered my prayers, because the way I got involved in network marketing, you're going to laugh about this. I met a random girl on Tinder, and I end up at a presentation. Like at the first time we were supposed to meet, I end up in a room with like 80 people, and there was a presentation. And that's when I got involved. I saw the vision, I saw the value, and I saw like, average people making above average income with different backgrounds, no degrees and stuff like that. I'm like, this is my shot. This is my only shot to like get the life that I want. And, and then the rest is history. Within like 2 years, I was able to pay off my debt. I quit both of my jobs. I started traveling. Like I went to Italy like 8 times actually in 22 months. I will never forget that. I built the #1 team in the country in our company. I quit all my jobs and I start living the life that I always dream, and I'm blessed to live in it right now.
Wow. So let me ask you this: when you met that girl, obviously on Tinder,
Yeah,
you didn't know you were going to a presentation.
I had no idea.
So
I had
what was
no
your reaction? You thought you were going on a date?
It was kind of weird because actually I was coaching soccer in the area and we were like kind of talking. And then I was like, hey, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I'm in Irvine. I'm like, oh, me too. Where at? And we're like a mile away from each other. So I don't think it was the purpose of like that, but like she's like, hey, if you want, you can stop by. We're having an event right here. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll check it out. What is it about? It's like, oh, it's about health. And I stopped by and I'm a health freak. So like, I'm like, wow, yeah, let's go. It was at Equinox at a nice gym. And I just walked in. I didn't know anybody, and I was blown away like when I saw it. So
Wow.
yeah.
So when you got started, how was your first couple of weeks like? How did it go?
Well, as I said, I didn't have any experience, so like I didn't know what I was doing, and it was tough. It was tough because we also sell like a $5,000 product or more. So me never doing sales or me being broke when I go sell people like a high ticket item, it was really, really hard at first. As a matter of fact, my first year was like I didn't make any money. I only sold 3 products. And one was my mom, one was my brother's girlfriend, and one was a friend that actually called me and said, hey, I want that product. I saw you're selling it. And then everybody else told me no. Like every single person I reached out to.
So what was the turning point? What happened? How did all of a sudden you go from struggling, because you have no reputation, right? You're a busboy, soccer coach. All of a sudden you start selling, to be able to sell. And it's an expensive product too.
Yeah, I think the turning point was my 1 year after I went to actually a global convention. And that's why I always tell people the importance of like live events and promoting those big events, because that's when I really saw the vision, like the big vision of what was really possible. Because when you go to the convention, there's like thousands of people, and you see people with different background walking on stage that have even way harder life than I had before. I'm like, wait, my struggle is like nothing compared to those people, and they made it. So I have no excuses. And it just those big events give you that vision when you see that there's so many people that actually achieve their dreams, no matter what struggle they had before. That's when I really start saying, okay, this is my place. I'm gonna give it all, and I'm not gonna quit until I make it happen. You know. So that was for me like the global convention that I went to.
So once you saw the vision, what are some things you did differently? Did you see? I mean, did you have more confidence? You reached out to more people. What specific steps did you take?
Yeah, I started reaching out like to all the successful because I didn't know anybody, right? So I went to the convention by myself. I reached out to random people on Facebook. I carpool with people that I didn't know, and that's when I started making friendship, right? So like one thing that I did different, I started surrounding myself with people that had the result that I wanted, and I think that was the key for me because in my life I never had friends that were living the lifestyle that I was actually living, and I think people underestimate the power of that. Being in a group where people have what you want and you are the smallest one in the room. And that's you just automatically start growing. And I start listening to what they're doing and trying to replicate what they're doing. And also I just start having bigger dreams. Like I start dreaming big, like I start believing that something bigger for me was possible, for the first time.
How do you build up a network of people to talk to? Because you came here, you really had no network. So, and to be successful, you have to have a network. So how did you build this network of people?
Yeah, that's a good friend because now when I start, a lot of people tell me like, oh, I don't know that many people. They've been living here for like their whole life, and I'm like, think about me, I didn't know anybody at all, right? And what I tell people is like 99% of your team, you haven't met them yet. So it's like your list. It could be good. You can have a good network, but if you want to build like a $1 million business with like thousands of people on your team, you gotta be good at meeting new people. So like, and start meeting people with intention, right? So I start figuring out where do my ideal target hang out? What gym do they go? What place do they go eat? What place do those people hang out, right? And I start at going to those places and making friends with intention. Like what's the most expensive? We sell a high ticket item in the health and wellness industry, right? So people that spend a lot of money on my health are more qualified than people that don't care about their health. So for example, I start, what's the most expensive gym in my area? Let's go there. And then social media as well. You can find people on social media that are actually looking for what you have.
Yes. I know you have a very good social media profile. You have a lot of good content there. If someone's starting out with social media, they want to build it online, what are 3 or 5 tips you can share?
First is like, you gotta pick your niche and you gotta be very specific of what kind of people you want to attract, because you can't say like, oh, I want people that want to be healthy and making money. You gotta have like a specific like niche of what you exactly do. And then be consistent and be ready to mess it up too, because if people look at my story when I start posting on Instagram like years ago, they would laugh and they would never believe that I am what I am today, because it was terrible. Like I couldn't even, I was so ashamed. I never spoke in camera. I never did public speaking. I also had the problem with my accent that people tell me like, dude, you can't really understand you. So it was like, for me, it was tough. And I think you just gotta be ready like to mess it up, and knowing that it's gonna take longer than you expect. Because most people like they don't give it enough time, right? It's like if you never post on social media, you don't make like 3 posts and you make money, right? You gotta like, I started committing to doing every single day, and you probably saw my post. I post every single day on all platform, but it took me like 6 years to get where I am. At first it was not like that. So yeah, that would be my tip.
That's really helpful. What was the aha moment you had? I know you talked about that event. Was it another big aha moment, light bulb moment, and then afterwards your business really, really took off?
I think when I start seeing also, what the product was doing for people, and I heard like all those testimonials, like seeing someone's life change, like and once I start changing, as I start making sales, I saw like people changing their life or better in their health, or like, getting better in different aspects of life. And I really realized that was like, because at first I was so focused on like, when I first started, I was broke, right? So I wanted was like making money. I gotta make money. I gotta make a sale. I gotta make a commission. But when I really realized that the best feeling of this profession is not the money that you make, but it's like how people change their life because of you, and I think that changed everything for me when I realized that this is not about me making money, but it's about serving others. And when you serve others, then as a byproduct of that, you get what you want.
Yes. Hey, well, getting back to social media serving, how do you get your ideas on what to post?
I mean, you just have to think. First, you got to think about who do I want to attract, right? What kind of people do I want to attract, and how can I serve them, right? So everything you post, you gotta be focused on serving the people that you actually want to attract, So and focus like only on that, giving them value, and becoming a valuable person for these people. Then it's gonna be easy for you to recruit them, because then they know they're gonna learn something from you, and you can give them something. So that's what I would do. I would like focus on posting content that serve your target audience.
So if someone is new, they say, well, or they're not successful yet, how can they have something of value? What type of value could they provide?
I mean, like literally what I started doing at the beginning is like I start sharing what I was learning. And this is easy. Anybody can do it, right? So for example, you're reading a new book on network marketing. It could be GoPro, building an empire, whatever that is. Share what your takeaway on social media. So now you're teaching what you're learning. And I think like that's what I do. Like I learn, I learn and then I teach. And then when you teach, you're actually learning, because you become the student, the number one student. Like and this is what I've done. Like I always like copy from the people that had the result, and then I teach it to others. And by doing that consistently, I start absorbing those information. If that makes sense.
Yes. That's when you actually really master it. When you can teach it without even looking at notes. Because then you have to apply it, right? Because if you can't apply it, you can't teach it without looking at notes.
Yeah.
How important is consistency to success?
I think it's everything, because it's the key to success, because you're not gonna always be motivated. And a lot of people ask me, Gio, how do you stay motivated all the time? Like the truth is, like we all know, like I don't. Like you can't be motivated every single day. There's always gonna be days where you don't want to do stuff, even if you know it's work, even if you know you gotta do it. There's days that you just don't want to take action. But consistency, learning to do the things no matter what, is the key to success. And I think that's one of my biggest strengths. You know, I just do, I get stuff done no matter what, no matter if I feel it or not. And that's the most important thing for success, for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing. This is my favorite question. My next one is, in your journey, you've been doing this for like 7, 8 years. What was your worst moment in network marketing, to the point you maybe even want to quit, but you didn't, and that's why you are where you are today?
Yeah, my worst moment, that's a great question, by the way, because my worst moment was when, my first year and a half, I was literally like not making any money. And then I quit the restaurant job like too early, because I had two jobs. And I'm like, if I do this, I got to take out some of the hours. So I put myself in a position where it was even tougher than before. I only had the coaching job. And I quit the restaurant. I told everybody I was going to do it, but I kept getting no's and no's and no's and no's. And I went to a point where I had no more money. Like I was doing network marketing, right? I had no more money in my bank. My account was negative. I didn't even have money for the gas. And I remember one day that I will never forget. And I hope this never happened to anybody. But like I got to the point that I had no more food in my house. And I will literally open the fridge and it was only the light bulb. I will never forget that day. I had finished everything, like rice. I had nothing left in my house for food. And I remember like people were making fun of me. I remember like all my friends in Italy, they made a post of like, oh, don't go to those scam events. Like if you've been approached by these guys, just stay away. And there was like 350 comments of all the people that I know making fun of me. And that was like the darkest moment. I'm like, I almost thought about quitting. I'm like, how am I going to do this? Like nobody believes in me. Like everybody's saying no, I'm not making any money. Like, how do I get out of that? That was like the hardest part. But I also know, like, for me, I always thought about, like, if I quit, what's going to happen, Like, I don't want to go back ever to that life. So, like, for me, my mentality was, like, I either make my dreams happen or I die trying, So that was, like, for me, like, what kept me going, because my first year and a half, it was really, really, really tough. And I didn't even want to tell my parents, because my parents would tell me, you need to come back to Italy. You cannot even put food in your fridge, So that was like the darkest moment of my network marketing career, for sure.
Yes, yes. Hey, thank you so much. It's very inspirational. As we go towards the end of the show, some quick questions to pick your brain.
Yes.
And these can be quick. So the first one is, what is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you?
This is actually our motto, like for our team, is that our dreams are bigger than our problems. It's kind of like my brand, because I think, when your dreams are big enough, there's no problem that can stop you. And I remember Eric Worre always says that you can tell the size of a man by the size of a problem that gets them down. And that really stuck with me, because I'm like, wait, if my dreams are so big, then there's no problem that it can be big enough to stop me, right? And I think that's what this is all about. You gotta have like big dreams. You gotta believe that this is possible. You have to have a big vision for you and for your people as well.
What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
Sorry, what did you say?
What is one habit that's helped you become successful?
I think, there's different habits that help people become successful. I think like always be learning. You gotta be always learning and never stop learning, because the moment you stop learning, you stop growing. So that's for sure. And then I would say like the number one habit that you can have is focus your time on income producing activities, because a lot of people like think they're working their business and they're not having success. But when you really break it down and say, hey, show me what you're doing every day, you realize that the income producing activities are like none. They're reading a book, they're going to a training, they're going to an event, they're all good things. But how much time are you spending talking to a prospect, inviting someone to an event, or doing the activity that actually make you money, or sending someone the information? And I think that's the number. If you do those two things, you focus your time on IPAs, we call it IPAs, income producing activities, and learning every day. I mean, you gotta grow 100%.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice you ever received, Giordano?
The best piece of advice that I ever received was to stop listening to the people that don't have the result I want. And I know like we hear this all the time, but for me that was really what changed my life, because when you realize like I grew up in a place where nobody ever made money and I was getting influenced by, and sometimes those people that they thought they were doing good for me by giving their advice. They were doing with their heart, like telling, hey, you shouldn't do that. That's not good. Like, don't listen. You know, like sometimes it was even my own family going against me. Like, you shouldn't do this. Just get a job. You know, like, and it's hard to not listen to the people that you love, you know, that you listen your whole life. Sometimes it's your closest people, you know, and I had to like stop listening even to like my own family for a little bit, and not about everything, but about business advice, you know. And they told me, if you want to have success in business, you can only listen for business advice from people that actually have the result that you want. Anybody else do not care. And that changed my life, because most people were giving me the wrong advice, and most people were negative. Most people told me not to do it. That was not possible. And there were very few people that actually told me, you should do this. Yes, do it. And those are the people that I listen to. That are my mentors. And that's what got me where I am today. So I think that's the best advice that I've ever heard.
What's your favorite prospecting tool? Do you do a sample, a demo? Do you send a video? What do you like to use?
For me, I think the most powerful is actually showing someone a presentation in person. And you know, and that's why my team grew like so fast, because I taught everybody how to like do a presentation in person. And I love social media, because I mean, still 50 to 60% of income comes from social media. But I think the core of the business is like showing someone, being able to show someone a presentation. It can be at a Starbucks, it can be I've done presentation literally anywhere, like literally inside like small rooms, at a bar, at a coffee shop, like everywhere. You know, when you have that ability, you can do business anywhere at any time, with or without your upline, you know.
Aside from your social media apps, what's your favorite app on your phone that you could recommend?
Aside from my social media app, I think like right now for me, it's actually an app called Truebill. Because I don't know about you, but like I was really bad with managing my money and saving. I never saved, so I had always that problem. In fact, my first 6-figure year, I had zero money in my bank account. Even though like I never made 6 figures, you would think like, well, you make 6 figure, now you have money. I just was broke at a higher level, because I was spending all, you know, the car, the travel, and all that stuff. So one of my mentors taught me about money and savings and tracking everything that you do. And I'm like, if I don't track the money I'm spending, like how can I improve at that? You know, so like that app like really changed my life, to like literally look at it every day and creating a budget and being aware of what I need to cut. And now actually because of that, I was able to invest in real estate in Dubai, because I've been able to save a lot of money every single day. Like every money that comes in, I put some money aside. And then I was able to buy an apartment in Dubai because of that. So
cool. Very good. Hey, what are 2 or 3 books that you could recommend to ML Nation?
I mean, it might be classic, but you know, Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers. Like I'm reading it right now for the 7th time, and I think GoPro by Eddie Corey. I think those 2 books is like the Bible of network marketing. Like you gotta learn how to be a professional and what this business is all about. And then, I mean, I have like so many books. Like one that changed my life, it was Rich Dad Poor Dad, because as I said, like I never learned about money. Like, so that really changed my life. Like it was one of the first books that I ever read, beside, you know, network marketing books. So those are my top 3 favorite books that I would share.
And here's the last question, the
Yes.
$1,000,000 question. You ready?
Yes.
So imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one, but you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do, or the first place you go to find prospects and build a network marketing business from scratch?
Yeah. So the first thing I would do, as I said, I would start building a relationship intentionally. So I would go to all the places like where my ideal prospect would hang out. So for example, we sell a really expensive health product. So I would go to like the most expensive gyms in my area and just make a lot of friends and relationships. I would start going to networking events. I would start going to even like events that are like personal development events, because people that are there, they want to grow they want to grow in life. So, and those are the best people that want to do network marketing as well. So those would be the top things that I would do right away.
As we wrap up, any last words or advice? And then what's the best way our listeners can connect with you, Giordano?
The best way would be through Instagram. Through my Instagram, it's Jordi Roma, so Giordy. Roma. That's the best way. Or you can find me on TikTok, Giordano Carretta, all, my name all attached, or Facebook. But Instagram is my main platform.
And any last words of advice?
Um, yeah, like start dreaming big, and make your dreams bigger than your problems, and you will go far, very, very far. And do not quit, because just make a long-term plan. Like, most people don't succeed because they want quick money, they want quick success. Like, it took me like 3.5 years before I make six figures the first time. And I make like a 10-year plan, because people underestimate what they can do. People overestimate what they can do in a year. They think in a year I can become like a millionaire, but they underestimate what they can do in 10 years. In 10 years, you will succeed.
ML Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today you've been hanging out with Giordano Carretta. So keep up the momentum. Go to mlnation.com, click on the podcast tab, and you see the show notes to Giordano's right there, or the nuggets of wisdom will be there, including the links to his profile. Definitely follow his Instagram. He's got really good content there. Will give you a lot of ideas on what to post. Hey, in order to be successful in life, in business, and in network marketing, you must help others. So, Giordano, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with ML Nation. We're grateful to you, and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you so much for everything you do for the profession. You're amazing.